Hey, Freddie with CJ Pony Parts. If you've been following our Project F-150 EcoBoost, you've seen we've already installed an AFE intake and an MBRP exhaust. Well, now it's time to get even more performance out of our truck by installing a Bully Dog tuner. This Bully Dog GT Platinum Gas tuner fits a large variety of vehicles and can store up to 10 different tune files. You can monitor a huge list of parameters such as intake temperature and pressure, fuel economy, EGTs, and coolant temperature. This Bully Dog tuner also allows you to do performance testing such as 0 to 60 times, adjust your speed and rev limiter, and a few other adjustable options. Most importantly though, this Bully Dog tuner allows you to tune your truck for more power and torque, and today we're going to be installing it on our 2016 F-150 EcoBoost. For this installation, you're going to start off at the computer. You're going to take the SD card that they provided, put it in your computer, and go to bullydog.com. Once you're at bullydog.com, go up to the support tab, click it, click on GT Gas, go to downloads, and then download the update agent. You're going to run it. Click install, hit yes, allow your computer to run it, and finish. Once the Bully Dog program is installed and opened, install the SD card and you're going to select the Bully Dog card. If this does not come up, you may have to try a different USB port or plug it in, unplug it, but you need to make sure it's the BD card GT Platinum. Any other device and it will not work. Select it and we're going to update it. Click OK. We're going to register the device by clicking on the registration tab, device registration. Pull the SD card out of your computer and stick it into the GT. Take your USB cable, connect it to the GT, and then the cable to the computer. Once the device boots up, we're going to go up to Menu, and then hit the top button to scroll up and go to Change Vehicle. And then this is our 2016 F-150, so we have to find that. Ford, F-150. 3.5 liter, and then confirm. And now it's loading the image for our truck. With the image loaded on the tuner, it's ready to go in the truck. We're now going to be installing the Bully Dog programmer into the F-150. We're going to be using the supplied OBD 2-port cable. On this box that's connected to the OBD 2-port cable, you want to switch it over to battery. We're just going to leave it on battery for right now, but later on we're going to change things to where it can be on the ignition. Take the supplied HDMI cable and plug it in. Take the other end of the HDMI cable and plug it into the tuner. Now we can put it in the truck. Locate your OBD2 port underneath your dash and plug in the cable to the port. With the Bully Dog programmer hooked up to the OBD2 port, we're now going to put the key in the ignition. But for this entire process, you're not going to want to turn the engine on. You're going to be turning the key on and off, but you're not going to be turning the engine on. Then you're going to go to main menu again, install download. Verify that this is the correct vehicle. Yep. Now we're just going to be following the on-screen prompts. Go to the bottom of the disclaimer and hit agree. When doing this, you want to make sure that your battery is in good condition and that it's not going to die. So if you're worried about your battery's life, then you might want to put this on a trickle charger while you do this to make sure it doesn't die. Turn the key off. Turn the key back on. Now we're just waiting for the files to load. This could take a couple minutes. And now we're going to go to preload tune. We're going to be selecting the premium tune here. It's important to note if your truck only has 87 octane fuel, you want to use the regular tune, but if you have 91 or 93 octane fuel in your truck, you can do the premium. But if you only have 87 octane, you cannot do the premium tune, or you can risk engine damage or poor performance. We're going to use the stock shift points on here, but you can customize them. We can change the firmness, which I think will do performance. Do you want to adjust the speed limiter? No, I don't think we need to do that. We don't have the rapid flow intake installed. Do you want to adjust tire size? No, we have the original tires. We have the same axle ratio. And here you can see the preview of what the tune will have. The stock speed limiter is at 167 miles per hour. I doubt we'll ever hit that. This says, during the download, the dash gauges will shutter and arrow lights will illuminate. Do not unplug the GT. Turn the key on. And we're coming down the home stretch here. This did take a good while, maybe 10, 15 minutes possibly. It took a while. So you definitely want to make sure your battery is either on a charger or in good condition before you do this. In our case, our battery is brand new, so it should be good. We turn the key off. Turn the key back on. Continue. Turn the key off. Continue. Turn the key back on. And now our download's finished. Turn the key off and click continue. And now we're going to wire this thing up so it runs off our ignition, and then we can show you how it works. We don't want the Bully Dog programmer running off the battery the entire time, so we're going to be running the power cable supplied in the kit. We're going to run it from this fuse panel right here on the passenger side kick panel up to the Bully Dog programmer. We're going to run the cable behind the center console, and I have these extensions here to help me run the cable behind the center console because it's pretty cramped and it might be pretty hard to maneuver it back there, so I'm going to tape it to these extensions and stick it through. There's a 7mm screw that we're going to remove on the kick panel on the driver's side. And here's our wire. Once we pull it hard enough, it'll rip the tape off. and then we can pull the extensions out from the backside and pull the wire through. With the cable pulled through, we can reinstall this panel. And we have the cable running up and over this panel, so if we need to, we can pull some more out. Now we're going to drop this panel here. Just simply pull on it, and it'll drop down. Our ultimate goal is to get the wire to run up here to the Bully Dog programmer. We don't want the wire fully exposed. So we're going to have it something like this. And then hide the rest of the wiring in here. This box here fits pretty nicely behind this metal plate. We're going to use the Velcro provided to stick it on the back of this plate, and then we're going to connect the power cable and the HDMI cable to here, and it'll rest right here. HDMI cable, and we'll get the power cable ran up here. Since we're going to be wiring this up to the ignition to where it only turns on with the ignition, we're going to flip the switch from battery to switch so that it doesn't drain the battery when the truck's off. This is only now going to turn on with the ignition. Apply the Velcro. And stick it on the panel. You can hide the extra wire down in here too and clean it up with some zip ties. And then make sure you have enough cable going up to your programmer. And close it up. To access the fuse panel over here on the passenger side kick panel, just simply pull on the cover. We're going to be using this fuse tap. This goes on maybe a 15 or 20 amp fuse, whichever you would prefer. Just make sure it's a higher amperage fuse than what's on the Bully Dog programmer. To use these fuse taps, simply pull out a fuse. We're going to use a 20 amp fuse, put this on the fuse, and then put the fuse back in, and then connect the wire to it. The fuse that we're going to be putting this on turns on with the ignition and turns off with the ignition. You need to make sure that the fuse turns on and off with it, otherwise you could still drain your battery. To install this on the fuse, take one of the legs of the fuse, stick it through the slit in the bottom, and slide it down. Now with this anchored to the fuse, we can put it back in, and the wire will tap in right there. Now we're going to be connecting this connector to the wire. We have a little bit of extra wire here, so we're going to cut it and then strip it. If you do end up cutting and stripping this wire, you'll find a black wire, but it's not needed, so you can cut it off. Now we'll strip the red wire. Grab the connector, slide it on, and then crimp it. Connect the connector to the fuse tap. All right, it's connected. Now you can clean up your wires, reinstall the fuse panel cover, and your installation's finished. We have it wired up to the ignition now, and you can put this wherever you want. You can mount it on the windshield, you can even have it down here in the center console, you can hide it, you can do whatever you want with it. But just for the video purpose, we're gonna have it mounted right here so we can show you everything. We're gonna turn it on with the ignition. And And we're going to show you what all you can do with this device. First thing I'm going to show you is the gauge setup. Right now, we have 4 gauges on the side. We have our boost pressure, air to fuel ratio, throttle percentage, and intake temperature. To change that, you can go to menu, gauge setup, and right here is a list of everything that you can do. So you can do pyrometer, speed, boost, RPM, coolant temperature, throttle percentage, intake temperature, barometer, battery voltage, trans temperature, load, timing, mass airflow, air to fuel ratio, fuel economy, fuel flow, air to fuel ratio, auxiliary temperature, and frequency. So that's a ton of stuff that you can change, and you can have 4 separate gauges, so you can really monitor almost anything that you want. But since this is an EcoBoost, we're of course going to monitor the boost. If you go to the user options, you can change a couple things. You can change the lighting, you can change the background theme, animation themes. You can also change this to use standard or metric units, so miles per hour, kilometers per hour, things like that. And you can also reset it to the factory defaults. And there's also, this is the fun part, performance testing. And you want to make sure you're doing this not on public roads in a safe environment, legally. And you can do 0 to 60 tests and some other performance tests with this. It's really cool. Fastest times. If you go to this driving coach setup, this can help you get better fuel economy. It'll tell you how to drive and how to get better fuel economy. If you go into vehicle settings, you can change the settings of your vehicle. If you add a lot of stuff and make it heavier or lose weight, you can change that. Change the engine size. Change all kinds of things in here. If your truck gets a check engine light, you can go to this diagnostics menu. And if you have any codes, the codes will show up here and tell you what they are. And you can also save them. So you can look up your passcodes, see if things changed, etc. And you can also clear them. You can clear the check engine light with this too. If you want to take your truck back to stock, which I have no idea why you would, you can uninstall the GT and take it back to the factory tune. And then it asks you if you want to do it, which of course we're not going to, but if you really want to, you can. Now this is really cool. You have the 4 small gauges over here and you have 1 big one right here. You can change which one appears bigger. Right now we have the boost. You can change it to air to fuel ratio, or the throttle, or intake temperatures. And it also graphs it too, so you can be driving and monitor and data log what is happening with your truck. We're going to turn the truck on and see the monitors. So you can see everything changes when you rev it. Throttle percentage, air to fuel ratio, boost, coolant temperature is going up. And we switch this gauge to timing just to see what it looks like. You can see here that the peak graph is working. A little spike right there for the boost. Pretty cool. Our Bully Dog programmer is installed. It monitors some pretty cool stuff. It installed very easily, only took about an hour, and it makes the truck perform a lot better. We do plan on dynoing this in the future, so make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode.